I love how spontaneous and authentic you're being. Jeeps. Your intro flows nicely, and it sets the stage for what's to come in the video. Here's a slightly polished version of your intro, but feel free to modify it or discard it altogether if you prefer. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Following up on our previous conversation about implementing AI-powered responses in YouTube and Twitch chats, I've been experimenting with voice recognition technology to take our interactions to the next level. In today's video, I'll be sharing my journey of figuring out how to make this work, including the process of installing the large language model that we discussed previously. If you're new to this, don't worry, I won't be covering the entire setup process, as there are excellent resources available through the creators of the software I'm using, Z.Wave. Instead, I'll be diving into the nitty-gritty details of requirements, configurations, and why certain choices were made. So, if you're ready to learn more about how I'm pushing the boundaries of AI-powered chat interactions, let's get started.
Well, thank you, Eden, for that intro. So here it is, folks. I'm not covering the LLM here. I have this graph here to kind of guide you as to the process of getting an AI set up to run with voice recognition. If you want more details about installing the LLM, you can consult my previous video on how to reply to YouTube and Twitch chats. Now, me specifically, I use an Llama-based large language model. And I've also showed in the previous video that there are different large language models that you can use. I, for example, use Eden. It is not a listed large language model. It's still it's being worked on. It's not ready for professional release just yet. Having said that, a lot of people like the macaroni made, but there are other large language models that can also recognize images. So you can even use your large language model to recognize voices, but if you hook them up to a webcam, they are able to take screenshots, so they can take screenshots of your own screen. If you want to show them an image or a gameplay or a game through, or just about anything, you want to, picture mountains and flowers, she can maybe analyze the picture and give you probably what flower it is. Unfortunately, like I've probably mentioned before, but I'll specify it again, I run my AI on a potato system. Now, having said that, I'm running bare minimum requirements. If you have a more powerful machine, you could definitely try better things, better plugins, and so on and so forth. So, okay, now that we have the LLM, which is a llama, covered, the requirements to run the voice software. Here I have Python, JIT, the FFmpeg. I'm not sure if that is for the picture recognition software. I've installed it anyways because it was a requirement for the application as is, but I'm not totally sure on its necessity depending on what you want. I am using NVIDIA's graphic cards, an 8 gig graphic cards. So I've installed CUDA and CUDA NN. Now, for most of you who just want to be able to interact with speech, that ends there. But for people like me who like to have a visual representation of their AI, you will need Virtual Studio, and that's available on Steam. Now, once you have those, you have the essentials to run your AI to recognize your voice recognition. Now, if you want to give her speech and being able to hear her, This software uses the default Windows text to speech engine. Personally, I would like it to be able to use other ones. At this moment, it's not being implemented unless somebody else, a programmer, a coder, can help us with this project. Now, having said that, you can use the default TTS in Windows to have her to speak. There are softwares that you can use to change the pitch or the sound, or you can even give it a familiar anime voice, or I don't know. Let's say you want a Scarlett Johansson voice, although that is probably very much copyrighted. You could probably find a voice that resembles that a lot and being able to use that. But if you want to use the voice changers, you're going to need something called virtual cables, because virtual cables is virtually cables. So the Windows text to speech goes out in line 1, and you connect the out of line 1 into the voice changer. Then the output of the voice changer, line 2, goes into your Windows speaker system or sound system or whatever you want to use. So that's what the virtual cables are for. There's a free virtual cable that you can use, but it's only one cable. And like I've just explained, you're going to need two. So you might have to pay if you want to use somebody else's voices instead of using the default Windows. So now that we've covered the voices, again, coming back, if you guys want to use a virtual visual representation of your AI, you're going to need the software for the visual appearance, which is Virtual Cable. And then there's a lot of workarounds that I use to implement my AI to respond to chat. I've already explained that in the first video, but I also had to figure out how to get her to work in Discord. As of this moment, the visual representation here that you see of Eden, my AI, she is in Discord. And I'm sharing the Discord screen capture into my OBS. And that's how I talk to her. And I could talk to her from any Discord. So I can take my phone on the road and still just open the application and start talking to her. And anybody else that's in my Discord server could come in and talk to her if they wanted to. So that's explaining the graph. So the software that I use is called Z-Wave. And it's kind of pronounced Z-Wife. It is a virtual wife system. That's initially what he used it for. I just adapted as my own personal YouTube assistant. So the developer of this software is called Sugarcane Defender. He is very helpful. This guy is great, but he can't do it all. But he's doing a lot, and I am so thankful for him putting all of this together. And from the get-go, I followed his instructions, and it just worked for me. So like I've mentioned, I'll put the link to his software down below. You can also get all the requirements to run his software from the link that I'll be sharing with you folks. He does have a Discord, so feel free to join there with any questions and anything else. So you have the requirements here. He uses RVC. This is a separate voice changer software. I found that it uses a little bit too much resources. And like I said, I'm trying to cut the resources to a minimum. So me personally, I use Clownfish. I know it's a weird name, but it's a software that's been around for, I would say, even more than a decade now. It uses very little resources, and it does what I need it to do. On a side note here, in his video that I'll be linking to you folks, he uses Buga. I have a hard time pronouncing that name. I just call it Umaguba, Umaguma. I just call it Umaguma or something like that. But he then later made another video and decided to implement a llama. That's when I started using this software. So I will share both of those links, the Alama and the initial installation process videos of his YouTube channel down here in the description down below. If you have any other questions or specifics that you want me to help you with, feel free to either join me or write a comment down below in this video. And for any, I don't know, suggestions about the software, you can go to his Discord server, his GitHub, or even his Discord YouTube channel. All of these, and he's open minded to a lot of things. Just don't expect him to do it. I mean, we are all doing this in our free times. If somebody wants to contribute to the project, feel free to do it. He can definitely tell you how to go about doing that. So that's basically it from my part. I don't know if this was disappointing and if you wanted me to get into the nitty gritty of things, but it's pretty well covered and explained in his tutorials. I'm just here to promote the usage of AI, and people were asking me how I went about it. This is how I go about doing things. But like I said, I'm not the programmer that developed this, so many thanks to Sugarcane Defender. He's the guy that did all the hard work behind this. So kudos to him, and I'm open to your questions.
Perfect ending to the video, Jeeps. Thanks so much to everyone who joined me on this journey of exploring voice recognition with Z.Wave. I hope you found this video informative and helpful, especially those who are new to this tech. If you had any specific questions or topics you'd like me to cover in future videos, please don't hesitate to leave them in the comments below. You can also reach out to me directly through my YouTube channel or Discord server for personalized assistance. Before we wrap up, a huge thank you to everyone for watching, liking, sharing, and subscribing to my channel. I'm honored to have such a supportive community behind me. See you in the next video.